Hello, loyal acolytes of the mighty OGSoG. Praise him.
Praise him.
Our guest today is Brian Walken.
Our guest didn't praise him, so he might be in trouble.
You don't have to, but it is just your mortal soul at stake. That's all.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't care about that, then feel free to not.
Honestly, I really don't. I'm all good.
Yeah.
OGSoG is our demon overlord. I'm sorry, swamp demon overlord. And today, joining us, a very special guest. You may know him as Ninja Brian is here with us, and one half of the duo known as Ninja Sex Party. And he is here with us, fresh off of a video shoot for a
hot
new
shoot.
a hot shoot with a very special guest for a new song from
Oh, who
Ninja
was
Sex
that
Party.
special guest?
Who was this? Well, first of all, wait. Let's back up. Brian, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us where we can find you?
Sure. Yeah. As you said, my name is Brian Wecht. You can find me everywhere at @bwecht, BWECHT, or Ninja Sex Party, Starbomb, Go Banana Go, my kids band, any of those things. But yeah, it's great to be here. It's
we'll
great
put
to see
links
y'all.
in the description. Yep.
Okay, first off, Lasercorn always says that and then never does it. So I have to go through at Sunday night at midnight and
I
start
thought that was
Googling
Paco's
links.
job. That's my job.
Lasercorn's a bad guy. He's a bad dude.
I do
Not
also,
bad. Yeah.
I want to mention to all the longtime listeners that might notice Lasercorn's voice sounds slightly different. It's because it's higher pitched. He's legitimately excited today. Ninja Sex Party is, in fact, his favorite band. He's trying to keep it as cool, but I do hear a tone inflection today.
Yeah. There's a signed poster back there. Oh wait, where'd you go? Oh no. I think I had to move it because my arcade is in there. Yeah,
real fans
it's over
lose
here
their
now.
signed merch. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't lose
It's the
it.
most precious signed piece of memorabilia that I own.
It's not lost. It's right here. I just had to move it because I put in an arcade machine. So it's now even closer to me. But yes, I am a big fan, and in fact, I got to go participate in the music video shoot I mentioned a bit earlier for a new song. Are we allowed to say what the song is?
You know, let's not say the title because we haven't released that yet, but we can talk about the guest. I think when does this episode come out?
Next Monday.
Good question.
This is next Monday?
Next Monday. Okay, so this actually, we will have broken this news on my podcast before then, on a podcast called Late Night with Brian Weck. So people may have already
There's a link down below.
Link in the description, which is not my job to put in. I never signed up for that.
I believe Lasercorn will put that in. But this is kind of breaking news. This is somewhat of a scoop. We haven't really talked about this publicly. But the guest was Tom Cardy, musician Tom Cardy, TikTok star, YouTube star.
Nice.
Really funny Australian comedy musician. And we wrote a song with him.
I've been saying this for a while. Australians are just funnier than everyone else. Just hands down funnier than everyone else.
Australia. Joven has a whole separate Australian friend group that he hangs out with sometimes. He just invites them places because they're all Australian.
Can I tell you my favorite Australian thing? So for a long time, I've been listening to this podcast called Lingthusiasm, which is a linguistics podcast, and there's two women that host it, and one of them is Australian, and she was talking about how in her Australian accent, Australians have a non-rhotic accent, meaning they don't say R's, right? So the character Khal Drogo from Game of Thrones, to her
I know Khal Drogo.
Yeah, so to her Australian accent, that's how they say the name Carl. So every time she hears Khal Drogo, she thinks, "Oh, that's Khal Drogo." Which sounds the same in her
Just
accent.
running the used car shop down on 21st Avenue. Come on down to Khal Drogo's Cars Emporium.
Khal Drogo's Car Emporium.
I beg to differ, though. They do say their R's a lot when saying the word no. They definitely...
No.
Yeah.
That's the only time it comes out. Now, Tom Cardy is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
I do have a question. When is the first time you started listening to him? Because I went back and looked through the texts when I realized that Tom Cardy was there, and I sent you a link to one of his songs a while back. Was that your intro to Tom Cardy, or had you heard of him before?
No, I had heard of him before. I don't remember exactly when that text is, but look, Dave. Sorry, excuse me, Lasercorn. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. I'll flagellate myself later. It's part of my ritual. Yeah. So I would credit you, Lasercorn, if you were my first introduction to Tom Cardy, but I don't believe that's the case. I think he just came across my feed with "Have You Checked Your Butthole?" Of course,
Right.
one of his big hits.
Oh, that reminds me. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Have you checked your butthole?
it's such a great song.
You know what
Yeah.
it is? Australians just like have to have a great sense of humor because so many things try to kill them all the time. You know,
all the time.
Yes, you can't laugh it off. What are you going to do?
Have
Yeah.
you checked your butthole is great, but I think my personal favorite of his is Businessman.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Businessman, great song. And honestly, ironically, or that's actually the wrong use of ironically. I'm using it like Alanis Morissette, just incorrectly. But it is that on my Spotify playlist.
I think you also said incorrectly. I believe you said incorrectly.
indirectly.
Yeah, now it's you who's drinking before podcast.
Indirectly
Sorry,
is.
but I interrupted.
If you're eating a churro wrong, it's incorrect. But yeah, it's just about Businessman comes right after or right before I Own a Car by NSP on my Spotify
wow.
playlist.
Well, thank you.
So yeah, that's a great playlist. But yeah,
I have a question. Has Ninja Brian ever fought Pizza Ninja?
No, actually, there's relatively few instances of Ninja Brian interacting with other ninjas. There's one song where he meets and kills Ninja Jim. That's an old NSP cut. But other than that, I can't think of other ninjas in his life.
Well,
They're like octopuses. They're lone, solitary.
yeah, well,
the thing
Right,
is,
yeah.
like, Pizza Ninja really only shows up at sleepovers. So
when there's
Well,
pizza.
Lasercorn, if you could get
Ninja Brian doesn't sleep.
yeah. That's good. Well, Lasercorn, if you could ever get a letter out to your friend Pizza Ninja, I know that you are close personal friends with him because you've never
There's
seen him in the
also-
same photo twice.
Yeah, I'll see if they want to fight. We should also invite the Ninja Plumber to that throwdown, which is a van that very clearly stole Ninja Brian's whole aesthetic and put it on a van and drives around.
Now, can I say, actually, so I do remember you sending that to me. That's the first time I heard of Ninja Plumbers.
Yeah.
And then we needed a plumber, and we hired them, and they fucking crushed it.
Oh,
They were
man.
amazing.
Shout out. Today's episode of podcast is brought to you by Ninja Plumbers.
I
Google
was-
them.
They were, I was like, this seems like a match made in heaven. Let's just try these guys out. And they were fantastic.
you woke up
That's
and
awesome.
the plumbing was just fixed. It was crazy.
That's right. I didn't even know
Yeah.
they were there. Yeah.
Anyway, we have been going for a minute here. We should get into the topics.
Housekeeping and what the show is and who we
yeah,
are.
that's
and
your
all.
job. That's not
Okay,
my job.
I don't
Wow, there's a lot
want to step on your toes if you
Do
like
you guys
it.
always do so much passing the buck? I hear a lot
Yeah.
of what
No,
other
it's mostly
people's
me.
responsibilities
There
are.
is
Yeah.
so producer Baco here is actually OGSoG. I don't think he knows it, but I think he's in charge. The rest of us take responsibility for absolutely nothing.
It's like Aaron Yeager being a Titan. Like, it's like he kind of knows that he's OGSoG, but he doesn't fully like have grasp the powers yet.
So first off, if you're watching this on YouTube, you are only getting a one little clip from the show, one of the topics, maybe a topic and a half, but down below with a link that Lasercorn is definitely going to put in there is a
definitely gonna
link
do
to
that.
our Patreon where you can get the full-length video version of the podcast along with extended cuts of all of our other content as well. And just in case if you want to listen to it for free, we got Spotify as well. And OGSoG is a very fun little podcast where we take a trope like you'd play in
Podcast Mafia is a fun little
Podcast Mafia is what it's called. But, much like the game Mafia or One Night Werewolf, we will go through a series of topics, and one person shall secretly be a killer. It is at random, and if they say the phrase that slays, they will wind up killing one of the players, and we try to guess who it is at the end of each round. And that's what OGSoG is. That's what Podcast Mafia is. And now, Lasercorn, I send it back to you, sir.
Nick Cage is in Dead by Daylight pretty much as himself. If you could put another actor or a musician into a video game as themselves, who would it be? And and we got to do cameras off and see everything. I will go first this time because I went first last time.
Well, let's wait for
I went last.
Yeah.
I went last time.
Let's
Yeah,
make sure everyone
I
gets
know.
props.
I'm waiting.
I don't. You just sounded so excited, which means you're probably the killer.
No, I wanted to say I'll go first before I got the prompts, so that no one accuses me and goes, "Oh, awfully anxious to go first, anxious to kill," something like that. So I wanted to announce it.
Things
before
that
we
you
got-
say all the time.
before we got the. So my answer of an actor who would be good as themselves in a video game is, I think, Keanu Reeves, just as himself, just as like a good dude. And I think my first instinct was to put him in like Cyberpunk, because that's the game he's in. But what if he was just in like Untitled Goose Game? Like, has anyone ever seen that pic of him on a bench just trying to eat a sandwich?
Pretty great. And so like the goose keeps like taking the sandwich from him.
What if you were a goose trying to take Keanu's sandwich in that game? Like, how great would that be? It's like, oh, I'm trying to steal this guy's sandwich, but the guy is Keanu Reeves, and I'm taking a sandwich, and he's such a nice guy, and he just wants to sit and eat a sandwich in peace. You know, he's got paparazzi around him, people coming up asking for autographs, and now he has to deal with an obnoxious goose honking at him, stealing his sandwich. Maybe it takes his sunglasses at some point. I just think it would be an excellent addition to the Goose Game. Maybe in Untitled Goose Game 2, Revenge of the Goose.
It'd be funny if he like keeps coming back later on for revenge too, after you steal the initial sandwich.
Yes.
He's like, yeah,
I
like it.
I think it would be really fun.
Producer Paco, remind me later. I'm gonna have AI create this image for us so that we can put in the full video.
Untitled Goose Game.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I think that would be great. And then do we have volunteers to go next?
I go next.
Yeah, go for it.
I guess we all want to go next, but I go next. I wanted to talk about a game that I've never talked about before, and it's popular right now because another one is finally coming out. The Alan Wake universe. It's got that creepy vibe, and so I wanted to pick someone that had a creeper vibe or creepy vibe or whatever. So I was thinking, and I think this is perfect for Alan Wake because Alan Wake is about storytelling and that kind of stuff coming to life. So Guillermo del Toro, who I don't know if you guys have watched Cabinet of Curiosities, but that's kind of like
I saw a couple of them. Yeah,
it's like the whole vibe of the intro of the show is he's like kind of the storyteller, and well, he actually introduces the storytellers technically, but just the way he intros that, like I could imagine him almost being like a counterpoint to Alan Wake in the game, somewhere off in another Alan Wake universe where he's like, Alan Wake's a writer, he's like a filmmaker, and those kinds of things like. Kind of end up combating each other in some ways.
I'd almost want Guillermo del Toro just to follow Alan Wake around and narrating for him.
I like that.
Yeah.
That would actually be kind of great. I mean, honestly, that could be a way to do it too without affecting the story, is just having him narrating. So.
Oh no, I want him bugging Alan Wake the whole time where he's like following him. And then he went into the store and it was a bad idea. That was too Sean Connery. Less.
I don't think that was a Guillermo del Toro impression, but you got the vibe.
Yeah, that was weird. That was like Sean Connery meets Morgan Freeman or something. I don't know what that was. Okay, so we got Guillermo del Toro. Joven, why don't you go ahead and hit us with or actually, Brian, you volunteered last time too. So
yes,
Brian, hit us with who you think would be good in a video game as themselves.
Well, as we all know, I'm a huge Christopher Walken fan. And,
good answer.
Just a stunning character actor who is always himself, but always, always embodies the character that he's playing. So I'd like to see him in the original 1982 Pac-Man. Just wandering around the maze, they're ghost monsters following him around, eating dots. So many dots, But I think it would be fun too to get that original, like those real 1980s graphics, very pixelated with the fully photorealistic Christopher Walken.
Just wandering around, almost doing like the John Travolta meme.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just thinking of.
Yeah.
Is it his whole body or just his head? You imagine?
It's his whole body. Yeah. So he's just wandering around the maze, and occasionally when he, let's say he can eat a power pellet because he's Christopher Walken, he can do whatever the hell he wants. Then he gets big. Like if you guys remember in what was it, Super Pac-Man? Pac-Man gets real big, and then can kind of go through.
He can bounce around.
He can bounce around and stuff. So then you get you can see him a little bit better when he gets real big.
Okay, I have a suggestion. Take it or leave it for your remake of the Pac-Man game with Christopher Walken.
Please.
What if after he eats the big power pellets, he dances around the map like he did in the Fat Boy Slim video?
And weapon of choice, yes.
Yeah, weapon of choice.
That is a great suggestion, Lasercorn, and
thank you.
I accept. You know what? I'm writing down a note. Dances, great. All right, so when I make that, he will be dancing.
Yes,
he's a good dancer. He's a good dancer.
He is phenomenal dancer.
Excellent dancer.
I was worried about my pick because I thought there was a strong chance that someone else could take it. Glad that I landed with it now. I'm going with Dwayne Johnson.
Okay.
Now, you can put Dwayne Johnson in quite possibly any game.
Basically anything, yeah.
I want to put him in one of my old favorites that I haven't talked about probably on any of these podcasts, but still one of my favorites, Smite. Now, Smite is the arena of the gods where, all the gods from different pantheons fight each other in a MOBA-style game. Well, of course, Dwayne Johnson would be the god of rocks, maybe boulders. And we'd be able to see a lot of his moveset be pulled from his wrestling days.
You can make him
First off,
Sisyphus, right?
You can what?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, you can just see
Sisyphus,
Sisyphus.
He's constantly trying to push himself up a hill.
It's just like somersaulting up.
His ultimate is he turns into a boulder and then rolls
like
at you.
that.
Yeah.
So actually, for his ultimate, I thought it'd be real fun because I think he would be a warrior class. I think he'd be very much in your face, taking some damage, much like The Rock could do in his wrestling days. But of course, his finisher would be the rock bottom, where he would grab an opponent, the move, and then boulders would fall down for like an area of effect move as well. So you want to throw them into the mix and then drop down everyone. Of course, taunting is a lot of fun in Smite. It has absolutely nothing to do with the game itself, but everyone loves to do it. So we got to get the old fingers out to the character and, come get some. And I think a real fun moveset for a wrestler in a game of Smite where you only have 4 abilities would be to give him an Irish whip as like his first ability.
I don't even know. What's an Irish whip?
So an Irish whip is when you
ropes, right?
You grab an opponent, you throw him in the ropes, and then he comes back at you. And depending on if you can get him to, maybe you want to Irish whip him away, just get him away from the action. Maybe you want to Irish whip him to your other teammates. But if you could Irish whip him towards a solid object, it would act as the ring ropes and bounce back at you, allowing you to then do one of 4 moves if they get close enough to you uninterrupted. So we can get like the Rock spine buster, maybe even a little people's elbow afterwards. And of course, the best part of any game like Smite is skins. And Dwayne Johnson has had so many different outfits and characters he's played in movies that I would love to have a Scorpion King skin at one point in time.
Yep.
I want to have from what was the Michael Bay movie that he did with Mark Wahlberg where they were like super jacked. It was like at the height of like how big and muscular he was.
I think it's called Dwayne Johnson at all times.
At all times. Just like have this skin who's like actually just like larger than his normal model. And then of course like the wrestling days, maybe the Rocky Maivia skin. So yeah, I would throw Dwayne Johnson into Smite, and I kept talking because I just love this idea and now want this to happen.
You've talked quite a bit. I'm going to have to cut you off as the host.
Okay.
That's going to be all. And we've all answered now, so we could turn our cameras back on, and producer Paco will reveal who, if anyone, has been murdered.
Buried underneath the rubble of a bunch of rocks, Joven is dead.
Again.
Hey, producer Paco, can we have a small conversation here about your phrases?
Hang on, my camera, my Discord cut out for a second. I didn't hear who has been killed.
Oh, wait. This is an opportunity, guys. Who do you think it is, Lasercorn?
Yeah, who do you think died?
Who do you think?
Not true.
Is it me? I don't know. Is it? I literally, every time I hit the turn on camera button, my Discord cuts out for like 3 seconds. I don't know what else is happening.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, mine does that too. Lasercorn,
Really?
I have died, and now I'm giving I have given my grievances to Paco. Which, can you do me a small favor and just start throwing some harder prompts for me? Maybe not the easy ones. Anything to keep me in around? Come on.
It was a really easy prompt for me to kill him. It was just Ninja Sex Party.
That was so genius. And the fact that it was you, too.
Okay, I mean, I can talk a little bit about this here. So, purely, I'll say it again. Actually, once again, all the phrases I wrote down that seemed suspicious were Joven's. So that doesn't help us.
I had 2 Jovens. I had MOBA style game and Come Get Some.
I wrote down Come Get Some. I wrote down God of Rocks and Come Get Some. Actually, Come Get Some really stood out to me.
God of Rocks.
Oh, mate, I'm dead.
But I think so. Purely, I'm gonna once again argue from a meta perspective on this game. We know it's not Joven because he's dead. I don't think it would be Lasercorn twice in a row. I know it's not me, so I think it's Sohenki.
Wow. Just metaing it up.
That's what I do. Yep. Now, by the way, this fails if it could be Lasercorn twice in a row, which would be a good move on.
Well, so
it's
producer
determined by
Paco just
dice
rolls
roll.
a d4. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had the same. We've had
okay,
the
I
same
didn't
killer
realize that.
twice, have we not?
Oh, I see.
We had the same killer
I
3
didn't realize it
times.
was.
We did have the same killer 3 times in a row. One
It's
fight.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to retract. Actually, my reasoning falls flat. Then I thought it was a human pick.
Nope.
I didn't realize it was a
Nope,
roll of
it's
the dice.
just a dice
so
roll.
I retract. I have to think more carefully now. I retract my accusation.
Yeah, you would be able to metagame if we did it that way, but we've thought this game through too well, and you can't do that.
It's true. It's true. Okay.
It's like, but couldn't you have a really repetitive episode where one person's the killer 4 times?
You
We
totally-
absolutely could have that. That could happen.
You totally could. Well, then actually, I did write down something. I did write down something for Lasercorn, which would be an amazing coincidence, but it stuck out. Was Revenge of the Geese. So
Okay.
could that be?
They're
it
usually
seems-
not the
Man, that would be
are
so
not game
specific.
specific.
Yeah, that would
Well,
be.
yeah, but we also had Ninja Sex Party, which was
You
specific.
know what? I'm gonna metagame a little bit too here. Brian said he didn't write down anything, and then his metagame argument failed, and then mysteriously he did write down something. You're coming off
Look at it.
awfully
There it is.
suspicious.
There it is.
Why didn't
There
you
it
mention
is.
that earlier?
Look-
though?
look at
Why
what I
did you
wrote
lie
down.
about it, Brian? Why did you lie to us?
Why would I be
did you
writing
say-
these things down if I were?
Why
the-
did you
if I were
say
the
you
killer?
hadn't written anything down if you had?
Because
why
we'll say-
would
what I
you
wrote
lie
down
to
for-
us?
Look at that. I didn't write much down.
He's a liar. He can't be trusted.
That's not a
Brian's
lie.
the killer.
I didn't
It
want
was
to
a
come
lie.
out.
You
I didn't
said
want
you
to.
didn't write anything down.
This is
you did.
so
You just
aggressive.
showed it to us.
This is so aggressive, Lasercorn, that this is extremely suspicious.
I didn't want to come out the gate hot because I feel like it would have come out as like me just accusing back. But the only note that I had written for anyone else besides Joven was for Brian, and it was always embodies the character. That was the only note I had.
I don't
written
even
down.
remember saying that.
You were saying that Christopher Walken always embodies
Wow,
the
what a
character.
weak
Well, look, I do
defense.
agree
don't
with
even
you,
remember saying that. I vote for Ninja Brian.
Okay.
Vote
think-
cast.
It's
Who would like to cast?
well, as I would say again, I like to talk about these from a meta perspective. My reasoning did fall flat, and I admitted it. That is not something that a killer would do, right? So I made an accusation based on the way I thought the game was played. Turns out that was wrong, and I am nothing if not a man of science. And so I realized that my reasoning was faulty, and I retracted it. So that if I were guilty, would I have done that? I think not.
If you're not guilty, why did you lie about not writing
didn't
down any
lie.
notes?
I
You
wrote
said I
down-
didn't write. You see, you said I didn't write anything down.
I
and
didn't
then
write much
after your
down.
after
Oh my!
your
This is so
metagaming-
suspicious. This
after
is so
your metagaming,
coming at me so hard here.
I think
No,
you're
this is
lying.
just sitting back like,
can I be
what?
honest? We are
I
not
find
friends
your
anymore. This is so aggressive.
Friendship ended.
No, this is Lasercorn. I am absolutely accusing you. This is so brutal.
I think I'm like I want to vote for Brian, but Lasercorn's coming in so hot that
So
it's hard.
hot.
God. I'm not coming in that hot.
What?
I'm gonna
What?
stick. I'm gonna stick on Brian only because Lasercorn had such a specific answer, and it was pretty short, and that it would be wild to me if somehow he squeezed a phrase in his conversation about Nick Cage getting his sandwich stolen. So, or Keanu Reeves getting his
But
sandwich stolen.
his response was short last time too, and he
True.
still did it.
Can I vote for myself again?
No.
No, don't cop out again.
I say yes. I say yes, but I'm not.
Just leave it up to
Choose your
Joven.
fate.
Nope. Make a vote.
All right,
Choose
I'm
your
gonna
fate.
say Brian, but I'm gonna be real upset if my instinct's wrong. You guys can rebuttal.
Oh.
My rebuttal is simple. I didn't do it. And
Okay.
end of rebuttal.
Yeah. So my rebuttal is I never come on hot when I'm actually the killer because people say stuff like that. I'm coming on hot because I feel like I gotta break in the case, and I feel like that's not what it is. All right, votes the same or anyone changing votes? We've had rebuttals. Oh wait, we
Wait,
gotta
so-
get the ghost vote.
Well, we got to do the official vote and then the ghost.
My official vote is still for Brian.
Mine is for Lasercorn.
Thanks to AI. Just in case if anyone wanted to see
my
what it
God.
looked like.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please.
What does this have to do with anything?
This is the goose trying to Keanu Reeves sandwich.
Fantastic.
That doesn't look anything like Keanu Reeves.
It's AI.
Oh my
What's the
God,
best you can do? This one's not too
The
bad.
first that's
Actually, the first
best
one that looks like Keanu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He shaved a very small strip of his beard, but other than that, yeah,
Just great.
nice.
All
I
right.
love it.
Ghost votes Lasercorn. I actually do think he was coming on a little hot there.
Yeah.
I'm changing my vote to Lasercorn.
Wow, double wow. I can't believe it. I'm keeping my vote.
I
the
can
same.
believe it.
All right, I guess I'm dead.
Paco.
The killer this round was, in fact, Sohinki.
So you changed your vote. Just you're changing your
Well,
vote didn't even matter. You had won either way.
I know,
You just
but
killed me to be a dick.
I did it because I just felt rude to kill the
Friendship
guest.
over.
And the phrase that slays was creeper vibe. You know, a creeper vibe or creepy vibe or whatever.
Oh, I don't even remember that coming in there.
Yeah, I
Okay.
didn't-
What I did was I said creepy vibe first for something else, and then I said creeper vibe, and then corrected myself. I mean creepy vibe, to try and throw it off a little bit.
That's impressive. That's impressive. We're getting too hard with this game.
I gotta start taking actual notes. I didn't take any notes that round. I just accused someone at the end and came in super hot.
Hey everybody, if you're watching this here on YouTube, what are you doing? You could be seeing a lot more over on Patreon, like these fine people over here. I think I'm finally gesturing the right way. Who knows? But you can, give us money to see extended cuts, and we do fun shout outs and answer questions. We do a Q&A every month, do reactions to a lot of older content. Especially, we've been going through a lot of the game bangs from our past. That might sound weird to Brian if he hasn't seen our previous content. But thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.